guys, it's Sarah, and today I have a new video for you guys. Instead of doing a wrap-up videos, I've decided that I'm going to be doing my recent read videos. I've been doing these with my romance novels and doing a recent reason romance here or there on my channel. I think this will help me a lot in terms of no longer thinking about how much I read on a monthly basis, but rather how much I read and how many books that I find really fascinating and want to talk about. And I feel like it'll help me a lot more with planning and stuff. So I'm excited to start, and I hope that you guys enjoy this format. I am just excited to try it out, and we'll see what happens. Also, I'm a little bit sick right now. I have quite a bit of a cold, and I've had it for a while, so I apologize for that. Yeah, let's just jump right into the books that I'm going to be talking about today, which is recent reads in fantasy novels, and I'm really excited to show you guys what I've been reading. The first book that I have in this category is Brandon Sanderson's Firefight. I read this on the day that it came out and finished it like the day after it came out, so sometime in the beginning of January. I buddy read this with a bunch of great booktubers. My dog, he's so funny. He looks looking at me very funny. Come here, Milo. I have the whole family with me. All three dogs. All three. I don't know if you can see them all, but they're all here with me because they're awesome. Okay, and Ollie's back there. He's a teenager. He's being a little bit of a teenager right now. He wants to be a little bit of a rebel. A rebel. Okay. Alright, so the first book that I read in this category was Brandon Sanderson's Firefight, and this is the second book in his Reckoner series, which it is second to Steelheart. And if you don't know what this book's about, it is about this guy named David, and he is a young adult. He's about 18 years old, and he lives in this world where there are these magical beings called epics, and they got these powers overnight, and the powers have turned them bad. So they're not good superheroes, they're bad superheroes. And it's all about how Steelheart actually killed David's dad, which pushed David to go and find out as much as he could about every single epic, and also find this rebel group called the Reckoners, and they are fighting back against the epics and killing epics and things like that. And it's kind of a dystopian science fiction-esque fantasy novel where you have, you know, this higher powerful, like, people that you need to destroy, and your rebel group that's destroying them. And it was awesome. I gave it a 4 stars. I had problems with the connections between David and myself. Since it is in first person, it's hard to find certain connections and things like that, so it kind of pulled me out of the story here or there, but overall I really enjoyed it. I love this world. I think it's really awesome, and he's building it up to be pretty damn epic, if I may say so myself. The next fantasy book that I've read recently was The Name of the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. I also read this in the very beginning of January, like the first week of January, and I had my problems with it. I will say that I think Patrick Rothfuss is a fabulous person. I think he is really a great writer. He writes very, very beautifully and very accessibly, and I feel like that's very hard to achieve for some authors, and I feel like he is just really great in the way he tells a story and things like that, and I just really like him. I want that to be said. And also I really like the way he writes. I think this world was really cool. I think that the writing style was really great. But I had major issues with the main character. And if you don't know what this story's about, it's about this guy named Quoth, and he is kind of a notorious person in this world, and he has a lot of these names behind him and a lot of, you know, suspicion surrounding him and a whole bunch of different things going on with him. And when we meet him, he's a little bit older, and he is kind of in hiding. And there is this guy that comes around and asks to dictate his whole entire life. So basically this guy, the chronicler, he says, hey, it's my job, can you tell me your whole entire life? I would like to dictate it, and, you know, that's just what I want to do. And Quoth is like, sure, why not? And so the whole time in this book you are coming from a present Quoth who is pretty pleasant. That was almost a pun. And, you know, kind of a different Quoth, and then you're going back into the past and reading about Quoth and about how he grew up and his life and everything that surrounds him. And I think that that was kind of my issue, is that I didn't care about Quoth, and this is a very long book all about Quoth, and so it wasn't my cup of tea, and I ended up giving it a 3 stars or 3.5 stars, I think. Like I said, the writing was really amazing, and it was really great. I did get bored a lot, but that wasn't because of the writing. I think that it was because I didn't care about it. I didn't care about Quoth, I didn't care about his life, and if you don't care about those things, then it's like a 700-page book of nothing. And yeah, so I don't know. I had my issues with it, but I can understand why people love this series, and this, I think it's a trilogy. Well, there's a novella, so can we call it a series? And I'm really glad that I did read it. I don't think I'll be continuing on, just because from what I've talked to with some of my friends, they think that I wouldn't enjoy the rest of the books, but I really, yeah, I don't know, it was okay. Next fantasy novel that I finished was the second Powder Mage book, which is called Crimson Campaign. This is written by Brian McClellan, and it is obviously a sequel, so I'll tell you a little bit about the previous novel, Promise of Blood, I was calling it Blood Promise for the longest time, it's a flintlock fantasy surrounding these characters living in this world where gunpowder is magic. Yeah, basically we have like a detective, we have a like military main guy, we have his son, and we have some other little characters that get their point of view, and it's a very great story. I really liked the first one. It was a lot of fun. It had lots of potential. The ending was epic, and I was so excited to see how it played out into the second one. But that being said, the second one was not as good, and I did not like it as much. It was very military focused, which Crimson Campaign, you kind of know it's going to be, but the way it was written just didn't jive for me, and I was bored throughout a whole chunk of it, and it was just not my cup of tea. And I was expecting Brian McClellan to play off a little bit more of his epic world that he had been building in the first book, and he didn't. He kind of just left that to the side and focused more on the what's happening now, and I just wasn't really that interested. So yeah, that is that, and I ended up giving this a 3 out of 5 stars as well. I'm really excited to continue on to the last one because I'm curious to see how he wraps things up and if he does add a little bit more epicness to it. I know this series has a lot of novellas along with it, short stories, so there are tons of things that I can pick up when I am feeling a little bit like I want answers. I feel like a lot of these novellas will have those answers for me. So the next fantasy book that I picked up was the second bind-up of the Rio Revelations, and this one is featuring book 3 and 4, and this series follows two characters, Royce and Hadrian, and it's basically their story living in this kingdom. There is this heir that needs to be found, and this epic adventures that are always happening, and just awesomeness. I ended up giving the first book in this bind-up a 4.5 stars and the second one a 5 out of 5 stars. It continuously got better the more I read, and it just built up to be so epic and so amazing, and I really just enjoyed this. I love Michael J. Sullivan's writing style. He has such a way with creating this world in such a simple way. I don't know how to explain it, but it's very easy to read, very fun and fast-paced. I mean, these books don't take any time at all to read, and the font is pretty large as well. So it's all very, very fun and great, and yes, if you have a chance to pick up the Rio Revelations series, I highly recommend it. It's one of my all-time favorites so far this year. I really loved it. It was a lot of fun. And the next fantasy book that I picked up was Therithmatist by Brandon Sanderson, which is actually my last non-middle grade Brandon Sanderson book to read, and that's really exciting for me because I really wanted to finish all of his books in 2014, and I didn't get a chance to, so I was excited to finish this bad boy up and finally put it on my red shelf. And well, actually, it's on my Brandon Sanderson shelf, but still, figuratively speaking. This book is a more young adult fantasy novel, and it's an alternate history. Like, I can just show you the map really quick. It is called the United Isles instead of the United Islands. I mean, instead of the United States. And yeah, I read this with a couple of booktubers, and it was really fun. Yeah, this book follows Joel, and he lives in this world where there's planes flying by 15,000,000 times, and yeah, so there's planes flying by all the time, and there's not really, just here in Vegas. It follows Joel, and Joel lives in this world where there's Therithmatists. Being a Therithmatist means that you can draw, and it kind of comes to life. It's very complex and hard for me to a little bit understand because there's a lot of math and geometry involved, but it was really fun still to read, and yeah, it kind of just follows him in alternate USI, It's United States of Isles. And yeah, I read this with a bunch of great booktubers, and we had a lot of fun reading this and digesting it and things like that. We had a lot of fun finding the places where we lived on this map, except for Michael, who lives in Germany, so he didn't get to find his place on the map because Germany's not United States. But there was still reference to Germany in here, so that was awesome. Yeah, we just had a lot of fun. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. I had problems with it. Like I said, the magic system was hard for me to completely wrap my mind around because it is a little bit more math heavy, and I don't see in that way, so it was hard when he was like telling me these math things. I kind of just tuned it out because I'm used to doing that. But overall, I really enjoyed it, and watch out for those planes because they're in here. Not really. And the last fantasy book that I read this month was the final installment of the Rio Revelations Bindups, which is book 5 and 6. And this is a very long book, and it took me quite a while to finish, but I am so glad that I finished it, and I am so happy how the series ended. It was amazing, and like I said, Michael J. Sullivan is just awesome, and he's just, I don't know, he's just becoming one of my favorite authors. I'm gonna read a lot more of his books because he has a lot coming out and some that are already out. So I'm really excited to get to those, but I really enjoyed these books. I think they're fantastic and fun and just awesome. So if you have a chance to pick them up, please do because they're great. But yeah, that is all the fantasy books that I have read in the past couple of months, 2 months. And yeah, let me know down below what you guys thought of any of these books. If you've read them, I would like to know your opinions on them. I'd like to know what you guys are currently reading. If you're reading any great fantasy, leave it down below because I'm always looking for some new great fantasy, and I hope you're doing well. Thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!